grinding out, spending 3 hours at a court when your legs are dead because you're trying to hit a new dunk. And it starts from the very, very, very beginning. When you're trying to get your first dunk, you're there for hours. Missing. Boom, go back home. Then show up a week later, miss. And you might do that for a year straight and you hit your first one-hander. Then you repeat the process for a two-hander. Then you repeat the process for a 360. As you start jumping higher, the intervals of time might shorten. So, my first 360 took maybe 2 weeks of trying. But then you get into these hard dunks. My first East Bay was a long process. Then I hit that. And then once you get to a very high level of dunking, now you start trying to push the boundaries of things people have never done, right? A double East Bay, 360 behind the back, between the legs. It's...
Our guest is a professional dunker with a 50.5-inch match vertical, which is one of the highest all time. He has won multiple elite dunk contests worldwide. We have the pleasure in welcoming Isaiah Rivera onto Hoopsology. Welcome.
Hello, glad to be here.
Thanks for coming on to the show. Truly appreciate it. Before we delve into your career, we have a bit of a tradition on our show. We delve into basketball culture. What makes the game of basketball so great? So take this question any way you want it. What is your first or favorite basketball memory?
My first basketball memory it's actually the memory that made me fall in love with basketball. I was a super hyper kid growing up. Pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADHD. Well, I actually got diagnosed recently, officially. And my parents, in order to, channel all that energy into something, they signed me up for a rec basketball league. I was 9 years old at the time. This was in Utah. And my first game was horrible. It was not good at all, but I got fouled literally at the very end of the game. And it was time for me to shoot free throws. I missed the first one really bad. And then the second free throw went in perfectly, ball swished and made that beautiful sound we all know and love. And that's when I got hooked. Something about just seeing the ball going perfectly like that, it just lit something up in my brain, and I wanted to feel that sensation over and over again. And the rest was history. I fell in love with the game and played it for hours every day from there.
So how do you transition your love for the game into one specific, trait of basketball, which is dunking?
Yeah.
Arguably, this move that is symbolized with basketball compared to the 3-point shot, free throws, etc. I think the dunk is linked to basketball hand in hand. So how does you become proficient and pursue this avenue as opposed to the conventional ways of this playing for a team, overseas or in the United States and so on?
Yeah. I mean, I very quickly, I started watching it. And as soon as I started watching it, that became my favorite play in basketball was the dunk. I specifically watched a lot of the old dunk contests. I didn't grow up wealthy at all, very, very poor. We didn't have a lot of internet access, so I was stuck watching just really old clips that I could find here and there. I'd get DVDs from the library of Michael Jordan and things like that, and I literally would just anything I found that was basketball, I just was drawn to the dunk contest every single time. If I had an opportunity, got on YouTube, it was straight dunk contest that I would watch. And then along that same lane, anytime I came across a hoop that was adjustable, I would lower it and I would pretend I was Shaq or whoever and copy the stuff that I was watching. And then that transitioned to when I was around 16, I found that there was a world of professional dunking. This was around the end of my junior year, and then senior year came. It was looking like I wasn't going to be playing in college. At that time, I was in a high school basketball team. And I just went all into this thing. And specifically, one of the best dunkers on the planet at the time, he had messaged me because he saw I was posting all my dunks online. And this was I wasn't very good at all. I was rim grazing, trying to get my first windmill. And he told me that I had potential to be better than him one day. And in my head, he was the best dunker in the world. So he essentially told me I have potential to be the best, and I took it and ran with it. Like, I think when somebody that's made it to the top tells you have the potential to make it to the top, like, that's all I needed. And I always, just the way my family was, like, I grew up playing all kinds of sports. My stepdad was an Olympic weightlifter, so he knew what it took to be an elite athlete. And we were always kind of, it was like, find what you're naturally good at it and then lean into it. And this was a thing I was naturally good at it. And, as soon as that guy told me I could be the best, I was like, the hard work is the easy part for me. Like, I can put in the work. Like, I was somebody that was playing basketball hours a day, and I was like, okay, now let me put all that effort and energy in something that comes easy to me. And yeah, the rest was history. I started posting my clips online and just gained more and more notoriety and following as I got better.
Can you take our audience into the world of professional dunking, just in terms of how you got in it, what caught your eye to pursue it, and then what's a difference between just pursuing this world compared to, the conventional route of team sports, which is you make the team, you go from high school, college, international, and so on. This is very unconventional, very different, but I think has taken a route of basketball that is very, unconventional and compelling, quite honestly, innovation that we don't see from traditional team sports. Can you kind of take our audience within that world?
So what fascinated me originally was the jump itself. Like, to dunk, you have to jump high, right? Especially the shorter you are. In the NBA, the average height, I think, is 6'7". Doesn't take too crazy of a vertical. Average reach is probably around 8'8", so you probably need like a 24-inch vertical to dunk, as if you're 6'7". However, the average height for a pro dunker is like 6'1", 6'2", and just the vertical needed to get up there. And when I was younger, I was specifically obsessed with human performance. What are the limits of the human body? Like, I don't know if you know the show Sports Science from back in the day.
I do, sure do.
I love that show.
Me
Like,
too.
it was one of my favorite shows ever. And it's because in a way they answered, like, what's the science behind strength, speed, power, explosiveness, and that always fascinated me. Like, I always looked up, Olympic records for sprinting and the high jump and the triple jump, and then when I found out about the world of pro dunking, I think what fascinated me about it is it combined like my two favorite things: basketball and human performance. And when I would look up the highest verticals in the world, it was like basically like legends of these pro dunkers. Like, I think if you still look it up, it'll say like Kadura Ziani, 56-inch vertical, which is probably not true and it's unverified, but there was always these like stories. And as I delved deeper into like the internet and like, like the forums and stuff like that people barely read, like, you would just hear these stories, these like pictures of these elite dunkers with in my eyes, the highest verticals in the world of all time. And that's literally what drew me to it. It was like my two favorite things. And I came from a background of weightlifting as well because of my dad. So I knew about, the fundamentals of strength training and the science behind it from really, really early on. And even when I was on my basketball team, we had conditioning every single morning. We had to go do the weight workouts. Later in the year, it turned to after school. And everybody always hated working out. I freaking loved it. I was in there like my teammates would do the bare minimum. I was in there like going to failure every set, like obsessing over the technique for how to lift. So with dunking, it just combined those two things. And then it adds so you have, the basketball element, the dunk, and then the human performance element. And then the third element that drew me to it was the creativity behind it. The NBA dunk contest, there's been periods of time where it gets really stale and then somebody comes out and kind of like blows our minds. I think Vince Carter was like probably like dunk contests was going crazy. Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Dominique, all those guys, and it kind of died down. And then Vince came in and just revamped it and blew everybody's minds with dunks we've never seen before. Then it went through that same cycle where it died down, and then here come Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, and they kind of redefine the dunk contest again. And it goes through these spans of like these cycles of development. But the world of pro dunking is that every day, every dunk session, every year is innovating. Who can hit a new dunk? Then you got these dunk contests, right? You got these guys are doing this for a living. They're practicing dunking every single day, and they're pulling out dunks no one's ever seen before. So this is actually, we think the NBA players are innovating, but I've talked to NBA players. I've talked to the guys that coach NBA players that talk to them, and these guys, the best ones, drew their inspirations from pro dunking. At least like the recent guys like Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. That's where they get their inspiration from. So yeah, it was just those three facets. Like my favorite play in all of sports, pushing the limits of the human body in terms of jumping ability, and then the creativity to do that. And the last thing, and people don't really understand this about dunking, is the grinding out, spending 3 hours at a court when your legs are dead because you're trying to hit a new dunk. And it starts from the very, very, very beginning. When you're trying to get your first dunk, you're there for hours, missing, boom, go back home, then show up a week later, miss, and you might do that for a year straight, and you hit your first one-hander. Then you repeat the process for a two-hander. Then you repeat the process for a 360. As you start jumping higher, the intervals of time might shorten. So, my first 360 took maybe 2 weeks of trying. But then you get into these hard dunks. My first East Bay was a long process. Then I hit that. And then once you get to a very high level of dunking, now you start trying to push the boundaries of things people have never done. All right. A double East Bay, 360 behind the back, between the legs. It's when I tell you dunking feels the same as it did when I was 16 in my driveway trying to get my first dunk, it's still the same. I might be trying some crazy dunks right now, but it's the same sensation. And I actually tell myself, literally yesterday we were at a dunk session. I was trying to hit a dunk for the first time, and it's a cue I tell myself. No matter if I'm dunking now in a dunk session or I'm in front of 1,000 people in a dunk contest, I'm gonna lower them in front of my driveway. that's what I visualize. But yeah, that's kind of all the elements that drew me to it. It's the mix of all those things that make it such an amazing thing for me.
No, that's incredible. And you mentioned the NBA Slam Dunk Contest, and you mentioned that now the competitors take inspiration from you guys. But with the rise of social media and your visibility, and I think for people within the basketball world, I think it's common knowledge that you're innovating, you're leading this avenue in basketball, not the professionals. What is truly the point of a NBA Slam Dunk Contest and not just feature you all? I mean, it's fairly obvious. I mean, literally TNT, who had the NBA rights, had a show about dunking. So this is not out of some kind of insane idea. It kind of went down this route. So I'm just wondering, within your world, has there been, because I've talked to other professional dunkers, and I think they have talked about the biggest issue has been organization in terms of amplifying what you all do. Has there been talks in terms of integrating your world into what your casual fan knows as dunking, and they have a perceived notion that the NBA players are the best dunkers in the world, where that's not true at all? So where's that dichotomy like in 2025 heading into 2026 and kind of bridging that gap and giving you guys the floor and kind of saving the NBA players, just what they're worried about embarrassment or just it might be a burden for them to participate, and they can just have fun, the 3-point contest and the All-Star game, and leave the dunk it to you all.
Yeah. That was a very big frustration of mine for a long time. Because I mean, it would be like having like the Olympics, right? But then you have not the best guys compete for the gold medal.
Right.
Like that's basically what the NBA dunk contest is. It's the biggest platform, the most eyes on the world of dunking all year. And it's not a stab at NBA players. Like this is literally our job. It's what I've been spending I dunked for the first time in 2014. So it's been 11 years straight where I've been treating this like a job. Like I literally got paid for dunking when I was 18. Like I graduated high school and started doing pro dunk contests. So, 10 plus years of I'm training every single day, a couple hours a day, dunking a few hours a week, consistently haven't missed a week since I started, I don't think. Even when I've been hurt. It makes sense that we're the best in the world at this. Yeah, it's been a big frustration. I think no, it is organization. I think that is the thing that has prevented it from taking off and getting a bigger platform. And I honestly don't know why, investors or anything haven't picked it up. There was a show called Dunk League. This aired. It was filmed in 2017 actually for an app. The app is no longer a thing. And then in 2019, I think Whistle Sports got the rights for it, so they were able to release it on YouTube. And every single episode when it dropped was millions of views. Every single episode. If anybody with half a brain knows, we're in an attention economy right now. Like if something's getting millions of views, you could stick any kind of advertisement on there and people would pay big bucks for it. But it takes somebody with deep pockets to take a risk on something like that. I think that's the only reason it hasn't happened. And it is so hard to make a living off of dunking, which is why I think dunkers themselves haven't taken it upon themselves to do it. Because the guys that make the living purely off of dunking, it's changed a little bit now with social media, but it was only like the top 5 guys in the planet. So it was difficult just to get everybody together and organize it all, but the potential is there. It gets views. Like, I can post a dunk and get a million views, and so can other people. So I think there's a demand to see it. It just takes somebody it's something I've always said. If I become freaking multi-millionaire one day, like I would invest in putting something on for the best guys in the world.
Yeah, I'm very curious why it hasn't happened yet. Not necessarily by your conventional like private equity investors, but your Mr. Beasts or Jessers. Like there is a ecosystem within social media of basketball influencers separate from just the NBA or the W or other leagues out there. So I'm just wondering why they haven't. It's a no-brainer to me. It's pretty obvious what you
Yeah.
guys do. It works perfect with social media. I think once y'all have the organization, it's over. Like it's
Yep.
it's pretty obvious to me.
Yep.
Even though I am biased, I love dunking, but I still you like you mentioned the facts are within the views y'all get.
Yeah. 100%.
So I want to delve into just your preparation into a dunk that you never hit before. Can you take our audience into what is your framework like, just from a mental space and from a physical space, and then when you're trying it out, and then finally when you hit it, and within competition or practice, can you just take our audience through how difficult that is? Because I think now, again, we're talking about social media, see a bunch of trick shots, and I think audiences just take for granted how easy it is. They just see the finished product,
Yeah.
and they don't understand the work or the grind that goes into making what you do happen all the time. So can you kind of take our audience into that and just elaborate on the hard work?
Yeah. The first thing the audience has to understand is jumping, max approach, max effort jumping is probably the most intense thing you can take your body through. When you're talking about a short burst of energy, an activity that, lasts 2 to 3 seconds, there is literally nothing else that matches the intensity. You're running as fast as you can. You're essentially launching yourself into the ground. Like you're throwing yourself, like you're running fast. And then you literally take a 9-foot, we measured out, it's called your penultimate step. You take a 9-foot leap into the ground, Your legs rebound all that shock, and then you push up as hard as you can, and it's max effort. Then when you take that into consideration, and for reference, one of my coaches in our training program, he just made a video on this. High jumpers, they don't take more than about 800 like high jump specific jumps all year. This is from a book called Bompa Periodization. If you guys want to fact check me, um, think about that 800 repetitions. There's 365 days in a year. That's not a lot. That's like if you got 50, that's probably like 10 to 20 jumps a week if you're doing one session a week. And it's because of the intensity. Now, take a dunk session. I was just saying how it takes you try over and over and over again to hit a dunk for the first time. So you're doing, I've had sessions that have gone well above 3 hours. So you're doing the most intense thing for the human body that exists out there. And I will die on this hill when I say it's the most intense thing you can do in that span of time. And now you're doing it over 100 times, right? In the span of 3 hours. It is an insane toll on your body. So in order to hit a new dunk, you have to be very resilient. Like your tendons have to be on point. You have to be jumping extremely high. Like I recently hit this was actually back in December. I hit a 360 double East Bay on 9.8 and a quarter. So it's the highest rim height anyone's hit that dunk on. And it took all my vertical, right? So it took me being able to jump 50 inches, and now I'm doing it with a trick. And I think that session was probably like an hour and a half long. And it was about 3 sessions in a row where I came in and was trying it. So the preparation is insane. And the mindset is differently when I'm training to, break a vertical jump world record versus hitting a new dunk. Hitting a new dunk, you just need the reps. Like I need to be healthy enough to jump 48 plus. I don't have to be jumping quite 50, but like 48 plus, and be able to handle an hour straight worth of jumping. When I'm training to try to break a world record, that's like, I said, like if dunking's 100% intensity, this is like 102%. It is when you pull out like the vert trainer or a vertec out there, that vertical measuring device, something about it, like having an object you're trying to reach, your brain just like it goes on overdrive. Right now, I can handle a 2-hour dunk session just fine. If I'm testing my vertical, you can get maybe 10 jumps out of me.
Wow. And
something's gonna happen. That's not good. Like how I would describe it, an analogy I would give is like drag cars. When people build, cars to go as fast as possible in the quarter mile, you can have your stock cars that, you go buy a Hellcat Charger and you go out there and you get an 11-second quarter mile. But once you start tuning, modding that thing, adding new parts, squeezing more out of the engine, things break. That's the name of the game. Or Formula One. Formula One's another great example. Those tires last a few laps, and you got to bring them in. You got to put a new set of tires because those engines and those tires, they're being pushed to the absolute limit. If you have a freaking Honda Civic, you can drive that thing all day. You can push it. You can pedal to the metal all day and be completely fine. A high performance car, less so. Now you're modifying it. It might last one track day. And that is exactly what the human body is like with pro dunking and then with the record specifically. You're doing something that's not natural. Humans were meant to chase prey for half a day and tire them out and then you freaking kill it and you can eat it. We're not meant to do explosive activity, especially for sustained periods that are that long. So that is the battle right there, is how do you stay healthy while pushing the absolute limits of your tendons, the absolute limits of your muscles. Injuries are inevitable. How do you come back from them? How do you stay in shape when you are going through an injury? And you have to kind of plan all that around. And then there's specific times of the year where you're peaking and jumping your highest, then not jumping your highest. So to hit a new dunk, you have to balance. You have to like plan out your training so that you peak at a certain time. You have to make sure you're healthy at that time, and then full send it. Full send it. Record so you can analyze your technique, and then it's just perseverance, going for little wins, right? Trying to, all right, like I didn't get the ball through. I'm not getting the ball through. Don't worry about the jump. Just get the 2 transfers in. Boom, boom. Oh, I'm missing. It's coming out this way. Let me put my hand more under the ball so that it doesn't roll out this way. Okay, now the hand's on the ball, and I'm getting it to the rim. Okay, I'm getting it over. Let me rim stuff, right? Try to go for the rim stuff. All right, now work your way up. Now work your way to the back rim. Okay, I'm back rimming a lot. Let's try slowing down your approach. Go more straight up. That way I'm not coasting through the jump. There's literally hundreds of cues that you're constantly juggling. So it's crazy. It is literally crazy. And it's what's amazing about dunking. It's not just jumping high, like the hand-eye coordination that you need for it, right? Like the mental resilience. I've seen so many athletic freaks that can barely put the ball between their legs to dunk, that jump, 46 plus. And yeah, what goes into that is every pro dunker I know, they're the best athletes I've ever met. To be a pro dunker, you need to be, top tier genetics, good training, and you grew up playing sports and were good at all those sports. Because dunking, literally I played volleyball, basketball, baseball, American football. I freaking wrestled, track and field, dabbled into it. I did all that stuff, not to mention playing on the playground, freaking doing random games you make up with your friends, watching street ball videos and doing all the freaking all the crazy stuff. When I tell you every single skill I learned from all those disciplines applies to dunking, because dunking's catching, right? Being able to throw a hard pass off the backboard, but you want the ball to spin a certain way into your hands. You gotta be able to throw it at the right spot on an underhand throw, right? Like, or catching a 360 windmill with just one hand. So the Vince Carter way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someone's done it lob, just catch it with one hand. Mind you, most of us can't palm the ball midair, so it's like all those tricks come from having just a wide breadth of exposure to sports in general. So it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it.
Sounds like, and I think your effort is incredible to seeing what you've done. Final question for you, and I'll let you go. You talked about how in professional dunking, the height is lower compared to like NBA players. So what is your advice for athletes that have the criteria you mentioned earlier, but they're shorter? So, I'm 5'8", I'm approaching 40. My athletic days are done. But just for a high schooler out there that's 5'8", that they may, they have all that athletic ability and they want to dunk. What is your advice for somebody who's shorter but meets those other specifications that you mentioned?
Yeah, I truly believe most athletes, barring like you don't have any like medical condition or anything like that, like if you grew up playing sports and you're a healthy male, I truly believe you have the potential to get a 40-inch vertical.
Wow.
Depending on your height, that might be enough to dunk. Like if you're a 40-inch vertical is enough to dunk if you're, like 5'8" and up and average length arms. So, number one, you have to believe it's possible. That's where it starts. You have to think it's possible. So I would find inspiration from someone your height, that looks like you, that's built like you, that can jump high. That was number one. That's how it happened for me. I saw Jordan Kilgannon, same height, same age. We were jumping about the same. Became one of the best dunkers ever. So that was who I looked up to. So that's number one. Number two, and this is the best piece of advice, especially if you're young. Like if you're under the age of 15, nothing else will improve your vertical like this. Buy a portable hoop or find access to one or find a low rim somewhere in your neighborhood. Go on Google Maps. satellite view, look for courts, go visit them. Low rooms are out there. There's ways to do it if you can't afford to buy one. Lower that hoop. And my rule is every time you have a dunk session, so go out for like an hour and just dunk on it and try to hit a new dunk that you haven't done before. If you're starting out, that might be a one-hander or two-hander. Maybe you're on 8 feet, and you're, frigging that thing and go for a windmill or an East Bay, but always try to hit a new dunk. What that's going to do is it's going to force you to try hard, to jump hard. You're going to learn jump technique through all the reps. Your outputs are low because you're young. So the forces aren't the same. It's the perfect time to be able to put in those thousands of reps without destroying your body. And that's how we all did it. Every pro dunker did it. Right? It's harder to do it when you're older because you're stronger. There's more force going through your body. But yeah, get an adjustable hoop and dunk on that thing as much as possible. And then the last piece of advice, learn how to deep squat, learn how to deadlift, learn how to power clean with perfect technique. Be just as obsessed about your technique in the weight room as you are with your jump technique or how you play basketball, the drills you do and all that stuff. Be just as obsessed about the weight room.
No, that's incredible advice. Isaiah, thank you very much for the time. Truly appreciate it. Can you let our audience know where they can find you on social media? If you have any upcoming projects, you have any upcoming contests that our fans can check you out with?
Yeah, you can just look up Isaiah Rivera on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you can't afford training, I have a free 69-page guide. Literally put everything I know about jump training. I made it with the 16-year-old me in mind. What could have helped me at 16 get rid of knee pain, learn jump technique, learn how to train, and all that stuff. If you can't afford training, I have coaching at teachpestrength.com. It's $12 to try your first month. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Isaiah. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.